Welcome back to CryptosRus. I am George. We're all George. So, it's time for another Sunday walk. It is beautiful, sunny out once again, 60 degrees, nice and cool. And today, I have a couple new things to talk about. Number one, I do feel like I'm in trouble. Something that I've been going through for a while. So I do want to share with you guys what that's about. And also, I have a little story to share with you guys. Since we are approaching the Bitcoin halving event, I did want to share something from my past that I think is very relevant and you guys will enjoy. Let's go back. Let's first start with the story. Let's go back a few years ago. All right, to 2020. I think most of you guys remember, whether you were in the market or not, but most of you guys remember what happened in 2020. March of 2020 was something that none of us, I don't believe, have ever experienced. A forced, mandatory lockdown and quarantine in the United States. Just something that I don't think any of us ever thought would happen, right? Travel was suspended. People were sent home, basically became jobless overnight, and everyone had to basically stay indoors for a very, very long time, right? So what happened after all that happened, right? Well, obviously, financial markets didn't do very well. Financial markets, not only US, but across the world, all fell. Massive panic, massive dumping. Okay, no one thought, of course, the forced shutdowns across the globe were going to be good, right? So that's why everyone sold everything. This includes flight to safety or safe havens like gold. Even gold and silver and copper, they all fell down, and of course Bitcoin did too. And the reason why I'm reminding you guys of this is because that was right before the last halving event. Okay, so I've lived through a couple of these cycles, a couple of these peaks and valleys, the bottoms, recoveries, halving events. I've been through a couple. So just want to remind you guys that after our last cycle top before 2021 was 2017, and we had a brutal crypto winter. Okay, 2018, 2019, those years sucked, really sucked. Bitcoin fell to a low of 3,100. Alt, all down, every single one down 99.9%, including Ethereum. I still remember the days of Ethereum, I think in the 60s. Okay, when Bitcoin fell to 3,100, that's how bad it was. Everything was down 99.9%, and Bitcoin was down like 87% at the time, right? So 2018-19 sucked really badly. 2020 came. Everyone was hopeful for the halving event. It was right around April, March time frame in 2020. That was the last halving event, right? Everyone was very, very hopeful that finally things were going to change. We were going to come back up, right? And then that pandemic happened, right? Everything sold off. Bitcoin at that point was around, I think around 10,000. Dropped again almost overnight down to below 4,000. It hit 3,800. And I remember Ethereum being under 100 too. I think at the time fell to 80s, high 80s, something like that. So, what's my point? My point is, at that point, okay, when everything sold off, this notion that Bitcoin will have a usual cycle, will start pumping after the halving cycle, this notion went away. Because how could anyone still believe that? When Bitcoin fell from 10,000 down to below 4,000, and the whole world was basically shut down, right? No one thought that there would be any money at all flowing into Bitcoin, especially when everything else was also decimated, right? But what happened? What happened, right? People that refuse to believe that Bitcoin will not follow the cycle, will not come up, continue to hodl, first of all, and accumulate, DCA. And they were rewarded handsomely in 2021, even now, right? But everyone else that panic sold, that didn't believe or never believed in the first place, well, they lost out, right? So I'm reminding you guys of this story because even when it seemed like all was lost in 2020, that everything was going to be lost, Bitcoin found a way and climbed back up. And those that sold out lost one of the most tremendous runs we have seen, going all the way from 3,800. It really didn't stop until 69,000. So you guys do the math. That was a tremendous gain. I don't think anyone saw that coming, right? Not even the biggest bulls like myself saw that recovery that fast, that quickly happen. And, you know, of course, the rest is history, right? So my point is this, right now, we're getting there, right? We're about 6 months away from the next halving event. It's not nearly as scary as before. No way. We're hovering right around that 30,000. In fact, yesterday and this weekend, you know, Bitcoin was holding above 30,000. Right now it's like right around there, 29.9 or something like that. And we're creeping upwards. So, what's my point? My point is, I don't think it's going to be any different this time around, right? I've been pretty bullish. In fact, people could argue that I probably have been more bullish than even prior years, right? And that's because I learned more about money, and it made me realize how broken the financial system is and how broken money really is. But besides that, I mean, if you discount everything, all the macro stuff, all the micro stuff, everything, if you discount all that and just focus on the cycle, the 4-year cycle and the halving event, we are basically moving according to plan. We're at a point where we should be, and we're closing into the halving event. And as all previous halving events went, shortly afterwards, Bitcoin starts moving. And I don't see it any different right now. It's going according to plan, right? So I know a lot of you guys are waiting for the halving event. You know, I'm proud of you. Congratulations. If you've been holding since top till now, right? I know it's been tough. Holding for 69,000 down all the way to 15,000. That's tough. Really tough. But if you've been accumulating, DCAing along the way, you're pretty much at even. You may be in the green already. That's the power of DCA. That's the power of accumulation over time. That's why every metric, every chart that I've been showing shows the fundamentals of Bitcoin basically at all-time high. Because a lot of you guys have not given up, have seen a thing or two, and have learned a thing or two since 2020, and you realize that Bitcoin is definitely the best way, the best flight to quality. That's like a new term that Larry Fink started saying. Flight to quality, flight to safety, right? The most decentralized network that we have on the planet that no one can shut down. These are important factors. Okay, so I just want to remind you guys of this story, that back in 2020, it looked much scarier than now. And look at where we ended up in 2021, how high Bitcoin went. I can't even imagine how high we will go this time around with spot Bitcoin ETFs, which have never ever existed before. The money that's going to be flowing in from the institutions is going to be insane, something that we have never ever seen before in previous cycles. And then of course you have the halving event next year. Then, well, sometime between then and now, also you have some major settlements of lawsuits. Ripple one, Coinbase, maybe Binance. These are all huge, right? And let's not forget, next year is also the year when the Fed is going to cut rates, and we have a presidential election. There's a lot of factors at play that I believe are all positive for Bitcoin. So I can't even imagine where Bitcoin will be by the end of 2024 and at the end of 2025. Man, it's going to be so good. So again, every one of you guys watching this right now, congratulations for holding on this long, for accumulating. A lot of people have chimed in during my live chat saying that they have become whole coiners due to, staying in the game and just DCing over time. Congratulations. I'm proud of you guys. And I think a lot more of you guys are also on your journey to become a whole coiner, and some of you guys are on your journey to have 2 Bitcoin or 3 or 5 or 10. So congratulations to all of you guys. After 2025, you will be handsomely rewarded for your troubles, let's say, for your conviction, for your faith. I truly believe that. So all right, so that's the first point, just a little story. Second point is, I kind of hinted I'm in trouble, right? What am I in trouble of? This has nothing to do with crypto, but this has everything to do with, I guess, where my life is right now. I think I'm having a midlife crisis. I don't know if this is something that's good to share or people care, but now that I'm in my 40s, and I know some of you guys do not believe that, because I know I am Asian and I generally look younger, so thank you. And yes, I am older than Charles Hoskinson by many, many years. Now that I'm in my 40s, I don't know. I think I'm going through my midlife crisis. I've been watching and hearing a lot more people, focusing on people that have more profound things to say about life, about spending time, or having lack of time, spending more time with your family and friends, all these profound things that I've been sharing with you guys, right? Yeah, they get to me. They get to me a lot more than before. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I'm like, I don't care about any of that. But now, my kids are getting older, and one is about to become a teenager soon. I'm like, man, I don't have a whole lot of time to spend with them. And I started thinking, I don't have a whole lot of time for myself either, right? So it's kind of like I'm going through one of those phases right now, right? But it's true. I know my audience, most of you guys, are around my age. I think looking at my demographics for people watching me on YouTube, mostly between like 30 and 50, right? So I think a lot of you guys can relate, right? But time goes by really, really quickly indeed. And now that I'm in my 40s, I'm like, man, where did the time go, right? There's so much I want to do still. I'm still pushing forward with CryptosRus, obviously, right? Still making plans to grow. And yeah, so there's that, and there's also more things I want to do with the kids, more vacations I want to take, right? Also, I want to enjoy life more. So I've been buying more things, right? I bought my Ferrari last year. Been buying more stuff, for myself overall, right? Been traveling a little bit more. You know, there's just a lot of stuff. Even partying a little more. Something I never did before, nor did I really enjoy. You know, just, I'm an introvert. I don't really go out much. But these days, I'm doing a lot more of that. You know, just everything. I don't know. Do I have a point in saying this? I guess not. I guess not. But I did hint at you guys that, you know, if 2025 is as good as I think it will be, meaning that Bitcoin could end up being at 250,000, alt being 10, 15, 20 times higher than where it is now, including the big caps. That means the mid caps and small caps could be 30, 40, 50x higher. If things go as well as I think they do, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do after 2025. You know, I may just hang up the hat and call it a day. You know, I don't want to be, you know, in the rat race, I guess, so to speak, forever. Even though I am my own boss and I basically control my schedule and do what I want. And even though right now I'm still growing the brand, like I said, and pushing CryptosRus forward, I don't know if I want to do that forever. I don't know, right? So who knows? After 2025, I may just call it quits. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully I can continue forward. Maybe just have a smaller role with the channel. Maybe have someone else run it, or have the different hosts, you know, continue to create content. But yeah, something that I've been thinking about a lot, you know, because I'm going through my midlife crisis, I guess, like about the future, right? 2 years. I mean, we're about to end 2023, so 2 years, 2024, 2025 is right around the corner. Oh yeah, I forgot. So I know this is still fresh. My account banned on YouTube. Obviously, I already created several videos about this, about being banned and unbanned and stuff like that. But I will say this, I'll add a little more to it. You know, centralized platforms like YouTube, you know, they're a necessary evil, right? So I know those of us in crypto would love to see a decentralized platform rise to power and being used, and one day even overtake YouTube. Love to see that happen. But in the meantime, a lot of people, their livelihood depends on their social media platform, right? Like YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, right? And you know, what happened to me could happen to anyone, and I know it has happened to other people, even creators much bigger than me. You know, these platforms, because they are centralized and dictated by whoever's in charge, they could take that away from you immediately, anytime, right? So it's kind of a scary thought if you think about it. But you know, the one thing that they can't take away from you is your knowledge. And I think this applies to anyone, because all of you guys watching, most of you guys are not content creators, but you do probably work for someone, right? You could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could be a business owner, right? You could be an insurance agent, car salesman, you know, you could be a waiter or waitress at a restaurant, right? But at any notice, at any moment's notice, I should say, that could be taken away from you, right? Either you get fired, or an accident happens, or another quarantine happens, right? World War III starts out. We just don't know. We take things for granted that, you know, things will always be, right? they'll always be there for you the next day. And that's just not really the case. You just don't know. But the one thing that I guess circumstances or people can't take away from you is your experience. So once you have that, you can always start over. Of course, it sucks. No one wants to start over, right? But by having that knowledge, you can start over. So that's the beauty, right? So it doesn't matter what you're doing. You could always start over if you wanted to. Unless you really don't have any knowledge and you didn't gain any experience, well then that's a different story, right? But I was thinking about it, my situation and other people's situation. So really, as long as you have that knowledge with you that no one can take away, you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, my usual time. But in the meantime, share your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.